everyone. All right, we're live. Welcome back to the Doomer Bloomer podcast, season 3, episode I don't give a fuck. If you are tuning in from wherever you are in the multiverse, the Mandelbrot universe, I only talk to people who are cool now and who don't want to sell me undies. Today on the podcast, I have Dakota Robertson, all the way from Kelowna, British Columbia, where he was born and raised, grew up, went to school, did some shit, um, doing more cool shit. And I thought I wanted to highlight where he's at, where he's been, where he's gonna go. Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Dakota and let him introduce himself better than I can. How's it going, Dakota?
Peachy Keen, Sunshine and Rainbows. Yeah, nice to meet y'all. My name's Dakota, if it wasn't obvious. I basically ghostwriter. I took over people's social media accounts, grew it with content, eventually pivoted to teaching people how to do that for a living. And that's what I do now. But I've done many other things in the past for jobs. But it's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, and this is the first, like, not the first time, but like you're the first person who really highlighted to me what social media ghostwriting was. Like I didn't even really know 100% what that was a year ago. So I mean, not everybody, is in our universe, Dakota. um, People listen to podcasts, obviously, but you basically distilled it down into its essence. But if you were to, let's say, explain to somebody off the street, a random person, what ghostwriting was and how to get into it, how would you do that?
Yeah, so essentially, ghostwriting is when you write content for someone under their name with their voice and style. So, Donald Trump, he has a ghostwriter for his speeches. Drake, he has a ghostwriter for his songs. Kylie Jenner, ghostwriter probably for all of her social media. You can do this for emails, you can do this for social media, speeches, books, songs, etc., etc. A lot of people, they don't have the time or the money or the know-how to create content, whatever it may be. So they'll hire a ghostwriter who's a specialist in whatever area. So depends what industry of ghostwriting you get into, but there's many different ways to do it. But in the context of social media or newsletters, the way you want to do it is basically get the experience doing it for yourself, social media, so grow your own following a bit, and then offer it to other people. Newsletters, write some newsletters for yourself and then go do it for other people. That's the basics of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and like I said, it was new to me, and like I not new to social media, but new to the concept of growing social media in a more by the book sort of method, right? And take us through your journey a little bit, Dakota. I mean, because you've kind of did it in a relatively short period of time. Like, um, I know, like, this is just a little bit of your backstory, but I know that you journal now and you were journaling back when, because this is the Doomer Bloomer podcast, right? And I know that you have, you know, it even says right on your Twitter page is, um, I don't want to butcher it or anything, but yeah, I grew up in a motorhome. Um, both my parents had a problem with the crack addiction, and now I do $50,000 months, So how do you, growing up in such a, I would imagine, more of a poverty doomer headspace, doomer mindset, um, and with that sort of environment around you, how do you shed some of those poor mindsets, or and even maybe you do use those mindsets as fuel, because that for me, that's a hook, right? That like listening to your story, reeling your story in, um, it makes me want to learn more, engage more. So in your own words, because I'm just kind of prefacing here, can you kind of take us like all the way back to the primordial, like, you know, where you started, how you started it, when you had to make the change and get into a new phase of your life? If you could.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really started, I think, when I was either 17 or 18, when I was in my electrical program. My buddy Nathan, who was in the program with me, and one of my best friends, he was reading a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he got me interested in it. So I borrowed the book after him. And up until that point, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I just wanted to make some money until I figured it out. And I was going down the path of becoming an electrician because I'm like, I don't want to make minimum wage and be broke and purposeless. Might as well make money and be purposeless. So yeah, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the content in it isn't really revolutionary in my opinion, going like looking back at it now, but it was such a big paradigm shift for me because I realized, oh, you don't have to go the traditional route and get a job, get a degree, XYZ. You can, make money in these other areas. And I just saw the freedom that was entailed with that. And it was really appealing to me. And it just opened my eyes to what was possible. It also introduced me to the self development world where other books were talking about this concept as well, just different ways. So Rich Dad Poor Dad might have been real estate, but you got Think and Grow Rich, where it's more mindset, the magic of thinking big mindset. And then I kind of transitioned to more business books, entrepreneurship, stuff like that. And it just got my gears turning of the different possibilities. So kind of went down that rabbit hole for a few years and tried a bunch of side hustles in the meantime. I tried iPhone repair, eBay flipping, web design, all this other stuff. And I never really stuck with anything because I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't really have too much of an interest in it. But I like the idea of like living a life of freedom, waking up when you want, working on what you want, and, doing what you want. So I was still determined to figure it out. I had this big, push to do it, but I just didn't know where to place my energy. And a few years passed. So I was working as an electrician, trying these side hustles. And just kind of got to a point where I was 22. I worked a few different jobs in the oil and gas industry, some other jobs like server and delivery driver. And just got to a point where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I really need to figure something out. And it was the summer, it was 2020, September of 2020. And I was in my second year of college because I was like, well, I'm kind of over making money, or like, I want to pursue something that's more purposeful. So I was going to school to become a teacher. And in September of 2020, I was scrolling on Twitter because I was into crypto, and that's where I stayed up to date on the news. I came across a course on how to grow on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting. I'll spend the $40. And just that brought me down a different rabbit hole of all these people on Twitter. There's this section called Money Twitter where it's a bunch of young people talking about online business, making money, esoteric takes, all this other stuff. And I just fell in love with it because I felt for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the black sheep. I was surrounded around people who were talking about the things I wanted to do, and, making money and actually doing cool stuff. And a lot of them were teaching this stuff for free on Twitter. Like, here's how I did XYZ. Here's how I made 10K a month and 50K, 100K a month. and I just kind of became indoctrinated, and I really vibed with a lot of what the people are saying. Um, and I got 3 months into it and like doing what the Twitter growth course was saying. I was posting, and when I was from posting, I met a lot of cool people and started DMing them, get on calls with them. I just realized like, these people aren't really like any smarter than me. Like there's my age, some are younger, and they're just kicking ass, taking names. Like I could probably do this. So when December 4th rolled around of 2020, I said, screw this. I quit my job at Domino's working minimum wage, night shift. I dropped out of college and I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to make this work no matter what. Because I had such a big pain point. Like if you work a job where you don't respect the person giving you orders, you don't like the work, the people around you are miserable. Like it's such a big pain point, and I knew that was always going to be there. And I was like, okay, I'm young, I have few responsibilities. I'm going to fucking make this work. I'm going to try this thing. If I don't make it, whatever. But it was not an option in my head. I'm like, I'm just going to put everything I have into this. So I had some savings, and yeah, I just said screw it and just became obsessed with learning about writing, learning about marketing, copywriting, all this stuff, and started growing my account. Eventually got to a point where I was growing a fair amount, got to growing by like 1,000 followers a month. And I was like, okay, I'm actually getting decent at this. And basically started offering it as a service to other people to grow their social media because I had experience with that. Landed some clients within 28 days of launching my website for my offer. I hit like 11K a month, and that's when I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is real. Like you can actually make money online and doing this stuff." So scaled my ghostwriting agency to the peak was 50K a month, but it was around like 30 to 50K a month within 9 months. A lot of failures and a lot of wins. Definitely wasn't perfect. Had to figure out a lot of stuff, do a lot of uncomfortable stuff. But yeah, it was just that pain, man. Like just knowing what was waiting for me if I didn't figure this out. And it was kind of a gift, just knowing what it was like to work a shitty job and have have the negative waiting there for me. So yeah, man, just kind of use that, leverage that, and made a go of it. And I was thankful to have met some amazing people along the way that have been an inspiration, have helped me in many ways. And yeah, now I coach people on how to do what I did, and it's very purposeful because I'm now teaching, which is funny because I was going to school to be a teacher, but now I just do it online, and it's cool, and I get paid to do it, which is awesome.
Plus, he writes baller tweets.
Yeah, dank memes and baller tweets.
Uh, what are or who are some of the people, who helped you transition from that doomer place? Because the biggest shift that happened to me this past year is I realized that I couldn't do it alone. Like the
Yeah,
last year, basically the last September, I was basically in a, like, not a similar place, well, a similar place, like, because like I'm an electrician too, and I've been doing podcasting, almost 4.5, 5 years now. But um, what I realized is I couldn't do it alone, and I was kind of like the similar to you, is like I was spending all of this time on Twitter, now X, anyways. And it's funny that you mentioned like FinTwit or Money Twitter now, because it's gotten it. I don't know how, like, the latest thing about Money Twitter is they were making fun of the dinks, double income,
yeah,
no kids.
yeah, yeah.
They're just shitting all over the dinks. Is that's like the latest, anyways. But uh, who who specifically helped you along this hero's path, or this journey? Like, are there people that stand out in your mind that really made it worthwhile or helped you get to the next level?
Yeah, the big one is Dan Coe. So he's the first person I hired as a coach. And this was 9 months into my journey because I bought courses and stuff before, but that's when I really started taking it seriously because I had 8K in my bank account and I invested 6K in his coaching for, at the time it was 6K. It's a lot more now. um, but you really, that's when I realized that, oh shit, I got to make this work because it lit a fire under my ass, and having that accountability is huge. And he just laid out the roadmap, like do this, do this, do this. And I think at the start, when you're a beginner, you have all this information and it's overwhelming because you don't know what path to take. And even if you do go on a path, it takes time to see results. So, you might do something for a few months or a few weeks and you're not, am I even on the right path? And people have a tendency to switch to the next shiny object. And that's why they never see results. But yeah, it was really helpful having him. And he's a good friend now, and he was back then. Um, but yeah, it really helped me to have him say, "Hey, do this," and I trusted him because he knew his shit. So he's been really helpful, really good friend too. He's a great guy. So yeah, shout out to him. He was the main one early on. I'm very grateful for him. Um, I'd say like now, Nicholas Verge, he's a really good friend. I'm actually gonna go move in with him, but he, like, now I'm more established, but I still run into shit where, trying to get to the next level where I might not have it all figured out, or, even mindset shit. Like, he's a really good friend. In times where I'm doubting myself, I just went through a breakup. He's been great for that. And, yeah, so I'd say those two dudes. There's just a lot of other people along the way, but just overall, I think those people had the biggest impact. But I mean, that's in the online business space. I mean, my football coach was huge for just like showing up in my life when I needed that masculine role model. My mom, growing up, she was very encouraging of everything in my life, and she actually was the first one to tell me as a kid, like 10 years old or something, like, work for yourself, like, be an entrepreneur when you're older. So she planted the seeds in my mind. But yeah, those are a few people.
Right on, right on. I also noticed you're Jack, dude,
The jacked writer.
the jacked writer.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, obviously, it takes a lot of discipline to get in shape.
Yeah.
And so, when did that habit start for you?
Yeah, dude, that was when I was around 12, 13. I started going to, well, first it started with going to YMCA boot camps. So with these TRX bands, it was like CrossFit. But I started doing that because I got made fun of for being fat. Kids like to point it out. And I just didn't like who I was. And I just had such low self esteem and, socially anxious, very shy. And I just didn't like myself. And again, I leveraged that pain, those negative thoughts, and it fueled me to go to the gym. So, yeah, when I was around 12, I started going to the YMCA with my mom's boyfriend at the time. I started waking up at like 5 a.m. before school, and I would go and I would work out like a madman. Like, I would work out till I was drenched in sweat. There's often times where I'd have to run to the bathroom and throw up because I worked out so hard. I loved it because I knew after each session, I just felt so good about myself because I'm putting in all this work, and it's like I'm killing this old identity. And each session was, I was stacking this experience for this new identity. So I could look back and be like, oh yeah, I am a hard worker. I do have discipline because of these experiences. And so it got to a point where I was building up all this experience and I was building up this new identity. And it got to the point where I was starting to physically see changes. Like, they weren't huge at first, they're small changes, but it was still like, dude, hell yeah. I remember seeing the first kind of muscular development, like the V taper. And I was just staring in the mirror for like 20 minutes. I was like, this is awesome. And I started thinning out, and I started to get that positive reinforcement from peers and stuff where they were noticing like I was losing weight and I was putting on a little bit more muscle. And then I'm grateful for my brother because he started taking me to the weight room when I was 13, and we started going to the gym together, and I started packing on muscle. I got genetics where I'm like prone to putting on muscle easily. So started putting on muscle, and yeah, it's been one of the best habits my life because not only, health wise and confidence wise, but teaching me discipline and the act of showing up every day, even if it's small incremental improvements, that results in meaningful progress over time. And then you look back over a year, just compounds and then it gets exponential, I found. So, yeah, it was huge and it translated to business and all other areas of my life because, if you just do something consistently over a long enough period of time, it's fair to assume you're going to see results, which a lot of people, they don't have the discipline to stick to something for more than 2 weeks. Like you're going to look at the gym in January and you're going to have all these people quit after 2-3 weeks. And, it's kind of sad, but it's just the reality. So if you can translate that lesson to other areas of life, you're just going to be in the top 10%.
Yeah, man. Um, it's making me think of my CrossFit and where I'm at now. Like I've started going back to like a morning walk. Um, and I was actually, it's funny you mentioned Danco because I discovered Danco last December. Um, and just implementing like the basic writing habit, you know, like an hour in the morning, something something simple, you know.
Yep.
But it's helped me personally, not to say that I haven't been consistent through the years with things. But we can kind of get into like if we don't see results, you can always sometimes regress too, right? You can go to a previous version of yourself and you're like, oh man, like um do you do the thing where you like if you skip a day, do you like immediately have to go the next day, or is it just like it's just part of who you are now?
Yeah,
It's
it's
just your
like it's interesting. Like I'll have my times where I go through periods where I'm just not working out or, not being super productive, but it doesn't last long because my identity is like I see myself as the person who goes to the gym. I see myself as a person who, puts in the work with business and XYZ. So yeah, I'll have my off days where I overeat or I just like yesterday Saturday or today's Saturday. Yesterday's Friday. I did dick all yesterday. I had a shitty start to my day and I just kind of fell into a rut and I was just did nothing. So today I was very productive. So just realizing, don't be too hard on yourself if you screw up, but yeah, get your shit together the next day and have that reset. But yeah, I definitely kind of ebb and flow, but majority of the time it's in the right direction.
Yeah, and like I'm also wondering like how much of it is, I mean, because you said you've been traveling a lot
Hmm.
um earlier, so so how do you, when you're traveling, how does your workout routine, your business routine change maybe from when you're at home? How does that factor into your life now?
Yeah, working out's been a challenge for the past year because I've been traveling so much. So if I'm going to, different places, like one month I'm in Dubai, another month I'm in Colombia, it's hard to establish routine and it's hard to, get in the flow of going to the gym. Um, but I have a skipping rope, so that definitely helps. I carry that with me and, I'll find spots where I can skip rope, but walking's been a huge thing, getting just steps in is huge. Um, but yeah, if I'm in a spot for more than a month, I'll get a gym membership and hit the weights and all that, or I'll try to stay in an Airbnb where they have a gym. So stuff like that. But yeah, I've definitely put lifting weights on the back seat this past year, but it's still something I do quite a bit. Like there was times I was going like 6-7 days a week. I probably go like two times a week now, 3 times. Depends where I'm at. But if I'm in a solid spot, it'll be like 5 times a week, 4 times a week.
Okay. And these countries you've been going to, is it just for work or for pleasure or for both or for experiences or?
Yeah, for like just trying new stuff, just seeing checking out different places. I set up in Panama for 6 months because I moved my business there, and yeah, I just got established there. I'm going to be in Arizona for 2 3 months with my buddy Nick, and I'll be there, and then probably go to Europe for a while and just check out what's there. But yeah, work wise, it's great. I can work anywhere, which is one of the benefits of the laptop lifestyle. But yeah, the gym's the harder part with finding. I know I can find time and all that, but I'm just like, oh, I just don't want to sign up for a membership, or if I'm going to be here for a week.
Right on. Um, and then, like, I'm not sure if you're the first one to coin this, but it got my attention, and I even applied to your program or to be a part of your program.
Yeah,
But what is the full stack creator program? What is that about?
yeah. So I know people have mentioned full stack creator before, a long while ago, but it's kind of like the term solopreneur. Like, people have mentioned before, but Justin Welsh was the one that really took it and ran with it. And now everyone thinks solopreneur, they think Justin Welsh. So the way I kind of think of full stack creator is someone that learns to build an audience, and that's the base. And then they stack on different skills. So they might stack on sales, they might stack on writing, marketing, web design, whatever. And it's like a multiplier. So say you have an audience. Well, if I have experience with copywriting and marketing, I could create an offer where it leverages those two skills, and I could sell that as a service for some of my audience, or I could package it up into a product, or I could create a group coaching program. And the beautiful thing about having an audience is you are literally creating leads or clients, customers for that service, skill, or product. And like the crazy thing is, man, let's say you grow an audience of 100,000 people and you have a group coaching offer, and let's say the group coaching offer is $1,000 per person. Well, is it not reasonable to think if you have an audience of 100,000 people that you could get 100 people into that program for $1,000 a pop? Boom, you just made 100 grand in like one go, and the program could be a month, 3 months, whatever. So it's super lucrative if you learn how to package everything correctly. And then as well, like if you stack different skills together, let's say I know how to create social media content, but I also know how to write a newsletter, you can combine those two into an offer that few people can compete with you at. So, you can write the social media content and then send that traffic to a newsletter. And then on that newsletter, you sell your client's product or service. And then, you make more money, you can get more clients because it's just such a unique offer. So you're also putting yourself into a class of one, a category of one where people can't compete and you can get more business and all of that. And yeah, so I just see audience building, your audience as the base, and then stacking those skills. And then you can create different businesses and offers and all of that stuff and separate yourself. And I just see it as like a way to future proof yourself. Like you look at how industries evolve and change, like the people that only had one skill, let's say, back with the horse and buggy days, like if you're only a coachman, then when the car came around, you're SOL, right? So if you have different skills, especially in today's fast and rapid changing industries, like if you can add AI to your skill set, boom, you just created a whole new category, and you are adjusting to how everything's changing. So maybe, you know, copywriting gets taken out. I don't think it will, but if you're good at AI, you can incorporate copywriting with that, and then boom, you're high in demand. So it's just learning to navigate the changing landscape. But yeah, so in that program, it's a free community. I'll send you um, an invite after. So I got like 800 applications, like sorting through it. It's crazy.
No
But
worries, dude.
basically, it's just like for people that want to be full stack creators, and I'm kind of dropping insights. I'm dropping free resources. Have a live weekly call with people in there where I can answer their questions. So that's what that is. And basically, one, so the selfless reason of creating that community is because I know what it's like to start out as a creator and not know what the hell's going on. Or, it's lonely too, because you got friends, family kind of like, oh, what are you doing? Like no one understands. So when I cultivate a community where everyone's like on the same journey, everyone can help each other. Everyone's got different strengths that they can help each other with, different weaknesses where they can get help with. So I think that's really cool to have. And then also it's a funnel for me too. So I want to deliver so much fucking value up front where everyone's like, holy shit, this is free. This is crazy. So when I do drop an offer that I want to sell, then people are going to have that trust and see me as an authority. And like, who are they going to go to when they want help with XYZ? I'm going to force people in, but if they want help with something, I'm going to be the person they're going to come to. So when someone wants to learn ghostwriting, okay, Dakota, he knows his shit. This is all free. I wonder what his paid stuff's like. So it's also a funnel, admittedly, but I think it's an ethical way of doing business because, I think a lot of these online coaches, they're just spouting a lot of bullshit and they don't know what they're talking about. So there's a lot of resistance when someone is like, hey, give me 5K for this program. And you're like, oh, I don't know about this person. But if it's like someone like, and trust, it's like, you're going to be, yeah, he obviously knows how to get results. So there's two sides of it, the selfless and selfish reasons for the community.
Well, and there's several points you just point like you just talked about there. Like I did a podcast at the beginning of 2023 about where I thought artificial intelligence was going to go, and I didn't even scratch the surface of what's happened. Because that podcast came out in January. Um, and for myself personally, just learning how to be a prompt engineer or a prompt writer, um, it's it's become like a sim. I don't know. I don't know how you feel, but it's for me. It's become a symbiosis where it's like you said earlier. If you don't get with the current thing and understand how to to see where the market is going, you're going to be left behind. Um, and then I've also joined different communities. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And I think, and I think the other thing that I was kind of blown away is how big spaces became on Twitter X this year. Um, I didn't really necessarily, because it basically overtook what Clubhouse used to be.
Yeah, they ate their
You know what I
lunch.
mean? You know, but I don't know. We could talk about this forever, but it's like just seeing where you're at now. Like your whole thing is do cool shit, write about it, get people involved in your community, and somehow figure out a way to productize that or monetize that without being sleazy,
Yeah,
right? You know,
100%, like ethical business.
yeah, ethical business. And you know, I mean, I'm at a bitter crossroads myself. Because I'm at the point where I've started 3 podcasts. I have three Substacks now. Um, and
You're
I'm just
stacking.
like, I'm well, yeah, I'm stacking Substacks, and I'm just like, people approach me to for whatever reason now, and I'm just like, dude, I could probably do what you're doing better than you do it. I'm like, not to say that I don't have skill gaps, or that I don't have blind spots. I think we all have some blind spots, you know. And my question, I guess, is like, because I'm on your newsletter, right?
Mhm.
And this, like, the thing that you've been talking about in the newsletter lately is like, where is LinkedIn going to go in 2024? And I was just like, if you had some prediction, because I know you've, because if you can apply skills to one platform, you can apply them to others. You know what I mean? So, and you're also on Instagram, you're also on YouTube, and actually your YouTube videos are kicking ass.
Thank you.
Um, like they're like they're very watchable, and they're very relevant, and there's a lot of free information that puts people, like, they want to be in your camp, you know.
Yeah.
So how would you say, like evolving from a Twitter writer, ghostwriter, to doing things on video, um how would you say that, how would you say that's like made you a better presenter or a better teacher even?
Yeah. The way I view writing is it's just a form of communication. Like that's all it is. I'm transferring thoughts from my brain into someone else's brain, and I'm trying to make persuasive points so they see things how I see things. Like so I can persuade them on an idea, or I can
Mm-hmm.
persuade them to take action on something for their benefit. Sometimes my benefit too, like both. Like if I'm trying to sell them into my program or something. Um, but yeah, it's writing's crazy, man. It's all it is focused thinking. When you sit down to write, it is hard many times because you're sitting down and you're forcing yourself to take the jumbled mess that is in your brain and put it into a cohesive sentence, and a cohesive sentence that persuades someone on an idea or to take an action. You do that enough times, you start thinking a lot more clear because you're cutting the fluff and you're making persuasive points to bring people onto your side. So just getting enough repetition over that, you start to transfer that to your speech when you communicate with strangers or you're having a conversation with friends or family. And it's just like going to the gym. You're just working your brain. So you do that enough times, you're more articulate with your speeches, which is one of my favorite benefits of writing. But just like clarity of thought, just cutting so much fluff and simplifying concepts or using analogies to break down ideas so it's easier to understand. It's one of the biggest benefits of writing. Um, but yeah, like it translates to video so well because that's all video is. It's communication. How well can you communicate? How well can you persuade someone on an idea, a concept? And yeah, I mean, there's also more to video as well, like the tonality. Like maybe if I'm trying to get across a certain point, I might pause and I might lower my tonality a bit just so you understand. Or if I really want to talk about a certain point and really get across like these main points, then I might slow down my speech and make sure you're getting the information that I'm presenting. So there's all these like little soft skills you can learn alongside communication. And I think the formation of it is just clarity of thought. And you get that from writing. And once you nail that down, it's like, okay, let's work on these other skills. Let's work on my pauses. Let's work on my tonality. Let's work on the speed of talking and all these little things. But I find it's like Lego blocks. Like you build one, all right, let's stack on this one. Boom, 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 boom. So yeah, it's like skill stacking. So full stack skill stacking.
And in a way, you became a teacher anyways.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
it's just, and it's like you said before, you're using transferable skills in whatever your next endeavor or your next venture is, you know. um and before we wrap up here, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would have asked yourself in this conversation so far?
Um, Did the CIA assassinate JFK? I'm just kidding. Uh, no, no, no. I think the questions asked are really thoughtful, and yeah, I liked it.
Okay. Um, well, then, because you're everywhere, man. Like, I've seen you literally. If you type in Dakota Robertson right now, like, because you ever Google yourself? Because I Google myself like every single day now. I'm very egotistical, but and I Google myself on different search engines too.
I never thought of that. That's funny.
Well, because I have all of these different Substacks, right?
Yeah.
And I want to see if my idea, like you said about writing, is like it's trying to convince other people of your ideas or your way of thinking. And some of my stuff is out there, man. It's not out there, but it's out there, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
And it's also evolved, right? We're constantly evolving, So my question is, I guess, for a final thought, a final question for you is the 17-year-old version or the 18-year-old version of yourself. Do you think you'd be doing this because you're what, 24 now?
25, 26
20.
in 2 weeks. Old
Holy
man.
crap, man,
Yeah.
you're old. You're old balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Senior citizen.
So would you like, would the 17 or 18-year-old version of yourself, would you even have thought that this is what you'd be doing at 26?
No, I had no idea. Like, it's funny. I remember in grade one, I was given an assignment to write something, and I remember I was just writing. I loved it. I was writing a story, and I was writing for so long. The class ended, like the school was done for the day, but I just kept writing because I was just so into it, and I loved writing and reading growing up. But it's funny because I kind of lost that with school because they force you to write about topics you don't care about, and have a minimum of 2,000 words when it could be 500, and you just lose your love of it. And then I just rediscovered that with Twitter and social media and writing about what I wanted. And yeah, it's funny because I never thought of myself as a writer. And looking back, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That was one of my favorite things to do growing up. And it's funny how life just works out where, early on you had the signs, but you can only put the puzzle pieces together looking backward.
Hey, there you go, Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
uh, Now you're Dakota Robertson, full stack writer
Yes, that
and
is I.
entrepreneur and world traveler and community builder, among other things. Um, if people were looking to get a hold of you, what would be the best place, the best handles, social media wise?
Yeah, so OnlyFans, Dakota. Just kidding, I'm kidding. Not yet. Yeah, my main one's Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at wrongs to write, WRITE. That's where I'm most active. That's where I post my most base takes. And then YouTube, I got a lot of good shit on there at Hey Dakota, or you type in Dakota Robertson, I'll pop up. But yeah, those are my main spots. I'm all over though.
Yeah, you're getting to be omnipresent, my friend. You're
Yes, I just need
like you
TikTok.
you just, oh my god, the Chinese mind virus.
Yeah,
That is TikTok. I've tried and I was like,
I
just,
hope it gets banned.
I hope it gets banned too, personally. But all right. Well, thank you very much, Dakota, for your time, your attention, some laughs, and those of you out there in the multiverse, the metaverse, the Mandelbrot universe, um, you too can have an OnlyFans. I mean, you you too, if you decide or put your mind to it, uh, whether it's to start your own social medias, um, to be a writer, to do video. to do podcasting. Um, Heck, I even have a program for that. The Doomer Bloomers 12-step or 12 pillars framework, I think it's called. Um, I have a community as well. I've got the Daily Taoist, Yukon Gold. The All Truths Only has basically been my new network. Um, so yeah, feel free to hit me up at Will Nemo on all socials. Change my name because that's how cool I am. Um, don't have an OnlyFans, not yet, anyways. And keep your stick on the ice from two fellow Knuckleheads, two fellow Canadians. Um, you two can make your dreams come true. All
It's a
right.
bar. Boom.
Cheers. Mic drop. All right. I'm going to
Love that.